Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a Swedish coming-of-age drama film called Sami Blood. Spoilers incoming. In present-day Sweden, a 78-year-old Sami woman, Kristina, hesitantly comes with her son Al and granddaughter Sanna somewhere in the Swedish Lapland to attend her younger sister, Jenna's funeral. For some reason, the old woman has reservations about attending due to her disdain for the Sami people she grew up with. Despite being a solemn affair, she is visibly irritated when the people around her speak in Southern Sami, a native language she can no longer understand. Stepping outside for some fresh air, Kristina leaves the reception. Her son realizes her discomfort but insists that she spend the night in Jenna's family home with them. Upon hearing this, she refuses and walks away from his car toward the nearby hotel. A new day arrives as Kristina talks to some guests who are displeased and constantly complaining about the presence of Sami reindeer herders, to which she agrees. Later, she remains depressed in her room over being forced to associate with Sami people. Al and Sanna knock at her door to press her to join them with calf marking, but she does not respond. Later, she looks out the window at the hotel's disco lounge as her family rides a helicopter to the mountainside. She then flashes back to her childhood, playing back memories that led to her eventual exile from the indigenous community. Some time ago in the Lapland in the 1930s, Kristina was a 14-year-old known in the Sami community as El Marja. By this time, she is well equipped to participate in a herding practice called calf marking, where the wild deer are marked by cutting a piece of their ear. After blessing one of the deer, she and Jen are called back by their mother to prepare for nomad school. While packing up, El Marja is given a hunting knife that once belonged to her late father. After getting advice from their mother and saying their goodbyes, the sisters head out by boat to cross the river north of Sapmi. And Jenna is visibly sad to leave the community, so El-Marie comforts her by singing a yoik, a traditional Sami folk song. Reaching the other side, they continue the journey on foot toward their new boarding school when they are jeered by local Swedish boys, who look down on them for their indigenous heritage. Later on their first day of class, they are met by their blonde teacher from Småland, Kristina Lagler, who is keen on teaching them the proper Swedish language while also restraining their heritage. A student who does not follow gets slapped on the hands. As Kristina hears El Marja speak to her sister in the middle of a discussion, she asks her to recite a Swedish pledge, which she does in perfect Swedish. The teacher then awards her the position to lead the students in welcoming guests from Uppsala in the next few days. Afterward, the students line up outside and go out on a walk around the area. El Marja feels ashamed as she and her classmates are gawked at by her young Swedish peers. At dusk, while the students bunker down in their rooms, El Marja decides to visit Kristina in her lodge, where she finds a book about the Sami people. Her teacher then appears and invites her for some tea. The young girl expresses her love for books, so Kristina gives her one of her Swedish poetry books written by Edith Sodergren, hoping she might like it. She then explains to El Marja that to become a teacher, she needs to know everything. Later, the young girl awakens at night to soothe the troubled Jenna to sleep by reading a book about Uppsala. After some days of adjusting to their new life, the children prepare for the guests from Uppsala. While El Marja braids in Jenna's hair, she gets playfully teased by the girls for her Swedish accent, further intensifying her feeling of being alienated. They then head to the school when El Marja tells off one of the bullish local boys for harassing them. As every student lines up, a car arrives carrying scientists from Uppsala State Institute for Racial Biology. El Marja steps in front and reads a pamphlet to welcome the guests. One of the scientists comes closer, enthused with their attire and unique hairstyle. After a little while, the students gather in a room and wait in line. El Marja is the first to be examined by scientists. After measuring her head and checking her teeth, she is asked to strip naked, which surprises her, so she hesitates in following instructions to put her hands behind her head. However, Kristina forces her to obey, so the shy young girl has no choice but to stand awkwardly as her photos are being taken while naked. The other students are eventually asked to do the same, despite not knowing the true intentions of the process. Out the window, some neighborhood boys watch it happen through the windows. El Marja spends the rest of the day unnerved by the experience. While outside, she brings out her father's hunting knife and harasses the group of local boys, talking down about the Sami people. However, they fight back, calling her racist slurs while pinning her down to cut off the edge of her ear as her people do at the calf marking. The defenseless young girl returns to the boarding house bruised, hiding the injury from her classmates while at lunch. Walking around the field, she looks enthused at one of her teacher's dresses and takes it from the clothesline, changing out of her traditional gypsy. While this theft continues, a group of young soldiers on bikes pass by from a distant road and playfully ask her to a dance social. By sunset, she sneaks out, carrying high heels. On the road, Jenna follows her, but she demands that she return to the boarding house before leaving her to hide near a rock when she spots some teenagers. Feeling that she may not smell as good as they are, she washes her body at the riverside. At the event, El-Marja tries to blend in with her fellow youth. She then approaches the young soldiers. One, in particular, is a boy from Uppsala, Niklas Wikander, who invites her to dance. Afterward, she enjoys smoking while introducing herself as Christina, hiding her ethnicity. She expresses her interest in going south to Uppsala upon hearing that he is from there. The pair hit it off quickly and make out under the bleachers where no one will see them. The nice boy invites her to visit him when she has the time. Their fun is cut short when her nosy sister arrives to look for her, worried that she did something irresponsible. El-Marja decides to leave abruptly while denying her sister in front of the onlookers. Unfortunately, the school secretary has also tagged along with Jenna and catches El-Marja, taking her back to the school area. By morning, the young girl is sentenced by Christina to be spanked as punishment for her disobedience. Later at the sleeping quarters, El-Marja tries to make amends with Jenna, who is ignoring her by sleeping. She also tells her that she is fed up staying at the boarding house. The following day, as she holds the poetry book in her hand, she opens it to reveal a map of Uppsala and studies it. She tries to tell her sister about her plan, but she is continuously denied out of jealousy of the boy she met at the dance. Later, with enough courage, El-Marja approaches Christina and requests that she be made a written recommendation to continue her studies in Uppsala. Unfortunately, the teacher dismisses the young girl, claiming that while she is exceptionally bright, her own people lack the wit needed to attain higher education. She also believes that Sami people must continue flourishing in northern Sweden, which means they would not adapt efficiently to an urbanized locale. Visibly disappointed with this, El-Marja decides to run away, but before she does, she grabs her sister to rudely get her belt while informing her of her exile to Uppsala. Jenna begrudgingly accepts this, claiming her sister was never wanted around the school in the first place. El-Marja gives her one final insult, saying she is weak-minded. Just like any Laplander, her sister gets hurt and tears up as she leaves. Later, after climbing aboard and traveling on a train, she sees a sleeping passenger and quietly steals some of her belongings. Near the train tracks of the station, she burns her gypsy before heading out. Finally arriving at a part of Uppsala, she casually strolls by Niklas' house. His mother, Elise, informs that her son is elsewhere, but El-Marja insists on coming inside since Niklas promised she could stay. She then has dinner with her and her husband, as they discuss her origins and her relationship with their son. Noticing a few behavioral tics in the young, Elise starts doubting her, though she allows her to stay for the night while waiting for Niklas to return. In the middle of the night, the young boy is surprised to see El-Marja go through with his invitation but becomes happy to reunite with her. They make love that night, and the young Sami girl finally loses her virginity. In the morning, while the young lovers are having breakfast, Niklas' parents secretly confront their son, revealing they know she is of Sami descent. They force him to send her out, even though El-Marja asks Niklas to convince them to hire her as a helper in the house. With no other option, the defeated young girl steps out of the household and spends the rest of the night inside the bushes surrounding the botanical garden. The following day, El-Marja goes inside a nearby school and heads to the library to read advanced literature. She catches the librarian's attention, who then talks with the school administrator to let her enroll, though under the guise of Christina Largler, her former teacher. After introducing herself to a brand new set of classmates in the changing room, she proceeds to a dance lesson despite not learning anything about gymnastics. The instructor feels sympathetic and asks her to learn from one of her classmates. A while later, El-Marja is taught how to use lipstick by one of the students, Ingrid, who suspects she is trying to impress a boy. They fool around, with the young Sami girl pushing Ingrid for teasing. As the school day progresses, she gains new friends with a couple of other female classmates. While on a smoke break, she is summoned to the head office and given a bill amounting to 200 Swedish kroner for 2 semesters. Unable to pay outrightly, El-Marja returns to Nikla's house to borrow money, only to find out the young soldier is celebrating his birthday with friends. A female guest invites her to join in on their fun. She and a group of university students talk to her enthusiastically, as they know she is Sarmi since Nikla's parents have told them. Learning a bit about her people's culture through historical assignments, they urge her to join everyone, including Nikla's. She sings but realizes she is embarrassing herself and leaves hurriedly to hide her shame. Nikla's follows and comforts her, assuring her that he is pleased to hear her song. El-Marja then comes clean, asking him for money to pay for her education while revealing her Lapland name. As Elise calls him back to the party, he turns her request down and leaves her alone. El-Marja is crushed, lying on a field to sulk. Realizing her journey has ended, the young semi-girl forgoes her education to return home via train. Upon arriving, she is met by her mother and Jenna, who appears speechless. While bathing in the melted icy river, she expresses her glee coming home by teaching her sister how to float in the water. At dinner, she discusses with her mother about sending her to school, revealing that she changed her name. She also intends to sell off the reindeer to acquire her tuition, but her mother protests, feeling that she is losing her Sami ideals. El-Marja angrily tells her about not wanting to be Sami anymore and leaves. In the thick fog, she ropes in a reindeer to do some calf marking but grows tired and rests beside it. The following day, her mother approaches her and surprisingly gives her the silver belt that once belonged to her husband so that El-Marja can sell it to continue schooling wherever she wants. She then leaves without saying a word. Returning to the present day, she leaves the hotel lounge and takes a long walk back to the church. In the dead of night, Christina sneaks inside and opens the casket to see Jenna's dead body. Having filled her mind with regrets, she lays her head near her to whisper one final apology before leaving. Outside, she travels to the hillside and climbs to the top to get a better view of the South Sami landscape, catching a glimpse of farmers herding reindeer. By morning, she approaches her former homeland and stands speechless as she feels a sense of pride in being a member of the Sami people. Not knowing the experience changed her life. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.